I'm so lonely. I'm so sad.
Hey, mister, why are you so sad? I
Because I'm
Why are
lonely.
you so lonely? Where's your family?
I don't have a family anymore. They're all dead.
Oh no, I'm so sorry to hear that.
Everybody's sorry.
It's okay. If it makes you feel better, I'm lonely because I'm not from this time. So let me
What?
just No, I'm from another land. I can't tell you where because the government will hunt me down and kill me.
Are you on drugs?
No, but I do have the chow beans that you can eat.
What's a chow bean?
Da chow bean.
Da chow bean?
Yes, here, try it. Try it. Just give it a bite.
This
It's
looks kind of like poop.
it's really good. It's really good.
Oh! I know I said my family was dead, but I didn't expect you to try to send me to them. Oh, my jaw!
Uh-oh.
Oh!
This might have been a bad idea.
Yeah, it was a really bad idea. You're deranged.
Okay, so let me just take you to the hospital. In the meantime, a lonely man and a Wutai ninja enjoy Chicago dogs. Hello, welcome to Novel Console, your weekly podcast where we talk about books, games, food, and stuff that caught our attention during the week. My name is Chris, and with me is my beautiful co-host and wife, Karradyne.
My tooth still hurts.
That was so stupid.
That was really stupid. It was a really good almond, though.
It wasn't an almond. It was,
Yeah, it was a do whatever the fuck you said.
hazelnut?
Oh, I thought it was an almond.
No, it's a hazelnut.
Oh, oops.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so it was really loud, too.
it was very loud.
So, how are you doing apart from mortified from having to act that out?
I'm mortified. I'm shook. I've just been in a state of shookness for like almost a week now
Why?
because we were watching TV. Well, we were watching TV a couple weeks ago, and I saw this person, and I was like, "That face looks familiar," but I didn't really think anything of it. And then we were watching TV in bed a few nights ago, and the TV is like significantly closer to us in the bed because it's on on my side of the bed, so I have a better view of the television. And I see this same face again, and I go on a Google rampage to figure out why the fuck this face looks so familiar. So, has anyone seen the Google Pixel commercial where the guy's like, "Oh, I didn't expect my phone to save my life today in a car accident"? Well, I realized I know that dude.
Who is he?
He was my last Tinder date before I met you.
Oh boy.
We
gets
only went
better.
on one date.
It gets better.
You want to know why we only went on one date?
Yes. Tell me why you only went on one date.
Because I figured out that he was married. Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So the wife that he references that was saved along with him in this car crash, he tried to cheat on you with me and probably countless other people if he was on fucking Tinder. So yeah, that was
Not good.
fun. It was not pleasant, like seeing his face on my television 4+ years later. Awesome. Like Google Pixel, do you know that your poster boy is like a sleazebag? Probably still a sleazebag. If I know anything, he's probably got like screenshots of his commercial on his Tinder profile now.
That is shitty.
Yeah, so it was I was shook.
I'm sure you were. Once you told me, I was like, what? Really?
He thought it was funny. He almost fell out of the bed laughing his ass off.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I went on a Google rampage and found his YouTube channel, which is how I figured out that he was still married.
When you went on that one date.
Yeah. Yep. Like, oh, yep, that's him. He hasn't changed all that much. I've only gotten fatter.
That's my fault.
Yeah, it is.
So it's been a shitty week for a lot of people too.
Why?
Not only for you. Okay, so
It wasn't shitty. I was just shooketh.
well, what he did was really shitty.
Yeah, it was.
So
And now he's on TV.
so this week, they announced that they're remaking the original Dead Space, which awesome, great. That's not shitty. What's shitty is the news that broke that same day, along the same time frame as when they announced Dead Space, and it's that California is suing Activision over frat boy work culture
What?
that tortures women.
What?
Yeah.
Elaborate, please.
So there's been a lot of sexual harassment being conducted
Always.
by
Married men.
Yes.
Scumbags.
Yep. CEOs and fucking high-powered people in Activision promising
Power trips.
Yeah, promising the women that, oh, I'm gonna get you this position if you come to the hotel
Fuck
with me
me.
this weekend. Exactly.
Yep.
So
Even though I'm married.
exactly. To the point where, oh, if you don't come to the hotel this weekend and give me a massage on my feet, you're getting fired. Like, it is super fucking shitty, and Activision is the worst and will always be the fucking worst.
I'd sue him too.
So I'm glad they're getting their fucking dues because that is fucking unacceptable. They are terrible. And,
It's unfortunately very real.
yeah.
Very real
So,
problem.
fuck Activision, and I hope everybody that's affected gets their justice because holy shit, that was shitty.
But you know what wasn't shitty?
What?
The opening ceremony of the Olympics, even though no one was there to witness it in person, except the people participating.
And we really haven't watched the opening either.
No, we haven't.
No,
But I mean, it's on Tokyo time. We would have to watch it at the early ass hours of the morning. I mean, I'm sure they're broadcasting it at normal times for us, but they're 13 hours ahead of us.
Oh, so they're in the future.
No shit, Sherlock.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
No
the opening
wonder-
ceremony was happening
no-
at like 7 o'clock in the
No
morning
wonder
for
they're
us.
so much more technologically advanced than we are.
Because they're in the future.
Exactly.
Australia should be like super far advanced because I think some places in Australia and New Zealand, aren't they like 16 hours ahead of us?
I don't know.
It's tomorrow.
I don't know. It's
That's why
tomorrow.
everybody was so like making memes and shit when 2012 was about to happen. Be like, well, it's actually already going to be tomorrow on the other side of the world. So like giving us the specific time that the world's going to end on December 12th, 2012, whatever the hell it was. Do you remember the specific date?
December 12th, 2020, 2013.
I thought it was 2012.
2012? I don't know.
The Mayan whenever the Mayan
Listen,
calendar ended.
I stopped paying attention after June 6, 2006.
Oh my God, I sat at home all day having fits of anxiety. How old would I have
waiting
been?
for the Antichrist to be born. We still wouldn't know what the hell he would do because he's still a child right now. He's probably
Yeah.
Jake Paul or Logan
Oh my
Paul.
God. I would have been like 14. Yeah, and it was summer break, and I was like at home alone, and I just sat there in fear all day, thinking like Satan was going to show up in the front yard. I don't know.
The specific front yard in the middle of nowhere,
In the middle
where
of
you
nowhere,
grew up.
Georgia.
Where you grew up. Satan was just gonna pop right there.
Devil went down to Georgia. Come on.
He didn't go
With
to
his-
South Georgia.
With his fiddle.
He went to Atlanta.
You don't know that.
He didn't go to wherever you're from. Where is it? Sumner? Who's
We
ever
don't need
heard
to
of
tell the podcast where I'm from.
who lives in Sumner? No one.
It's unincorporated.
Exactly.
There are lots of unincorporated places in Georgia. You need to cut that, bitch.
I am not. That's staying there.
Oh my God.
So, tell me, what was the list of songs they played?
Oh my God, it's a long list. Okay, so Dragon Quest, Overture, Roto's theme, Final Fantasy, Victory Fanfare, the Tales of series, Sori's theme, The Shepherd,
No.
Monster Hunter, Proof of a Hero, Kingdom Hearts, Olympus Coliseum,
I know that one.
Chrono Trigger, Frog's theme,
That one's good.
Ace Combat, First Flight, the Tales of series, Pomp and Majesty, Monster Hunter, Wind of Departure, Chrono Trigger, Robo's theme, Sonic the Hedgehog, Starlight Zone, rolling around at the speed of
No, that's Crush 40.
that's what comes to my head. Pro Evolution Soccer, eFootball walk-on theme. That sounds like a real exciting song.
It's a banger.
Final Fantasy main theme, Fantasy Star Universe Guardians, Kingdom Hearts Heroes Fanfare, Gradius, O1 Act 1-1, Nier, Song of the Ancients, Saga Series, The Minstrel's Refrain, Saga Series Medley 2016, and Soul Calibur, The Brave New Stage of History. You know, I would never have heard of any of these things except Kingdom Hearts and Final Fantasy if it weren't for you.
Yeah. So the Soul Calibur one, I think that one makes the most sense because Soul Calibur is like it's so over the fucking top. The announcer's always so, it makes it sound like everything is so what's it called? So much more. There's so many more stakes. Yeah, he exaggerates it. Like before every fight, he says, "And this duel will decide who will take the center stage and the world stage," or whatever shit like that. So I think that having Soul Calibur for the Olympics actually sets the tone for whatever the competitions are supposed to represent. So we should probably sit down and watch that at some point, but I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah. Maybe tomorrow night.
We're not sports people.
No, not at all. Did you see the beds that the Olympians have? The anti-sex cardboard beds?
Yeah.
What the fuck is that? It looks like they went to IKEA and they took the boxes that the beds would have come in
and just built them out of that.
Built them, yeah.
See, the thing
somebody supposedly already tested the anti-sex part of it. Which are we surprised?
No. See, the thing that gets me is I forgot what the thing that gets me is. I don't remember what it was. Anyways.
Your brain gets you. It lets you down every time.
I remembered. So the thing is, they're supposed to be anti-sex beds, which they're designed to hold a certain specific amount of weight.
They wouldn't hold us.
What about the heavy weightlifters, the deadlift people?
The ones who are like more muscular and
exactly. And what if, is there a sumo category this year?
Is there ever a sumo category at the Olympics?
Those people are not going to be able to sleep.
Watch the Olympics.
They're not going to be able to sleep on those tiny ass beds, right?
Oh my god.
It's like they had a lot of sex now. They just chunky boys.
I think about like Michael Phelps. He's so tall. He would hang off of that damn thing. He's so tall.
He doesn't have feet. He has flippers.
A mermaid fin. He's so long.
So, I don't know what they're expecting. Because the thing is, when were the last Olympics?
2016.
Where?
I don't remember.
Hold
on.
I remember one of the. It's not important because I remember one of the most things that people talked about the most on the internet was that there were condoms everywhere. So
Rio.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. So we were talking about this with my coworkers, and I never like thought about it, but it makes a lot of sense that the Olympics are always like an orgy. Because you have like the most athletic and fit, like sculpted people who are all young, thrown into a pit together, basically, and it's an orgy.
All right, so moving on, since you're bringing up sexy stuff, tell me about that sexy Lord of the Rings book you bought.
Yeah, so I went to the local used bookstore to trade in some books last weekend, and obviously I always check their Tolkien section before I look at any of the rest of the store, and I noticed that they had a hardback. Shut up. We're not going to make hardback perverted, okay? They had a hardback version of all three books together, so Fellowship, Two Towers, and Return of the King. Normally those are all paperbacks, so I'm like, what is this? I gotta check it out, because all I can see is the spine. I pull this bitch out, and they're having an orgy on the cover. It is like, as Aaron at Reading in Fairyland said, another $5 in the bucket. It's like a step back Lord of the Rings. So basically when you have historical romance novels, you know, they have those really racy and hot and steamy covers. A step back is when you open it and then they have the more racy version of that cover on the inside panel. Like maybe they're half naked at this point, whereas on the cover they were just touching each other. That's called a step back. It's a dumbed down way to explain it.
So when you open the book,
I wish it were a more sexy version.
You see like Gollum's hand pinching
Frodo's dick
nipples.
Yeah. Yeah, so
Why do you always go to Dick?
we're gonna have a line of Dick merchandise. We got Frankenstein Dick, Squirrel Dick, Frodo's Dick. It's gonna be so little. It's like
And
a
one of them,
lipstick tube.
one of them is going to be modeled after Jeff Bezos,
Oh my god!
the biggest dick on the planet. Who
Anyway,
rode a dick into space.
We'll post a picture of the book cover on our Instagram when we post the episode because you need to see this. It's like Frodo laying back all exaggerated, and Gollum's hand is on his chest, and Aragorn's hand is on the other side of his chest, and then it's got like super Gandalf on the back.
The thing is that it doesn't even look like Elijah Wood Frodo.
No,
His
it looks
face
like
is
some sexy like Fabio Frodo.
He's like all chiseled and shit.
Yeah, he's super chiseled.
Jesus Christ, that's
Quite dramatic.
terrible.
Yeah, Gollum's
So
really
terrible.
like black.
Is he?
Yeah, his hand is
And-
super dark.
I mean, he's supposed to be gray, right?
Yeah.
Nah.
Well, I mean, according to the movie.
You know, they sent us an email this week. And by they, I mean the being that is known as Burger Champ in the podcast verse.
Your questions are hard.
He sent us a really good question this week.
They're hard.
So, and he does make a good point here with the beginning of the question. He says, I don't like to buy into the term guilty pleasure because I don't think you should feel ashamed about what you do and don't like. Right? You shouldn't be ashamed about
Yeah.
that. Right. So, that being said, what game/book do you know is not great, but you'll go to bat for every time? What book?
Twilight. I'm kidding. I am kidding. But I thought
That was so natural and so fluid. I
Last
almost
night we were
believed it.
talking about the baseball game, and when you said go to bat for, that was the first thing that came to my mind.
Oh, God.
Twilight. Yeah.
No, what's your book? What's your book?
I wouldn't go to bat for Twilight. But we talked about this the other day, and you asked me if it would be A Court of Thorns and Roses, and I was like, no, those are good books. And then I was like, wait. So I reread them last year, and they are good books, but rereading them, I'm definitely like in a different place in my life now than when I originally read them. I would still enjoy them. I know I would, but I'm not sure that I would be like as enamored and obsessed with them if I read them again for the first time like now. They're still good, but I understand why some people don't like them or don't care to read them. I don't know. But yeah, I would tell you that they're amazing and you should read them no matter what.
Boy, this is difficult. I want to say Senran Kagura, the titty ninja.
No,
Video
what the
game
fuck?
series?
No.
Because it's actually a
No.
fun game.
No.
Apart from the titty part,
I'm gonna say 50 Shades of Grey,
that would have been terrible.
which is basically Twilight, but
Yeah.
sex.
So things that they're actually fun. Like it's like Dynasty Warriors, but with ninjas. You get to fight hundreds of other
With
ninjas
titties hanging out.
With titties hanging out. I mean, it's just stupid fun. If you take the whole naked stuff out of it, it's still a fun game. It's still a really fun game. So I'm gonna have to go with Titty Ninjas
Okay.
with Senran Kagura.
He asked about food too, right?
He did.
You know what my answer
He
is?
said, "What is an eatery that you don't really like, but you keep
They
eating?"
get
there?"
my order wrong every fucking time. Half the time, it doesn't meet my expectations.
Today it did.
1 out of a million. Does it actually really taste good? Fucking Taco Bell. I will always be loyal to you. I will always choose you over everybody else, even though you abuse me.
It was actually good today.
It was good today.
Natural fries are back, so
Yeah, nacho fries.
I had like 20 of them. 20
I'm gonna go back to the
individuals.
diet for dinner. Oh god.
No, let's just get more nacho fries. And steak quesadillas, because the steak quesadilla was actually really good.
Hey, we at least didn't get sodas, so there's baby step right there.
We didn't get sodas because we forgot. For me, it's going to have to be Burger King.
Yeah,
Because
that's some nasty shit.
I feel like it's like Taco Bell. Like it's terrible, but when they get it right,
the Taco Bell of
it's
hamburgers.
really good. The other day, before we went to dinner, when I got out from work early, I stopped at Burger King because I was hungry. I got a Bacon King, and I forgot to ask for them to change the fries to onion rings because their onion rings are terrible too. But they're better than the fries. The fries were perfect. They were so good. They were like really
It's a
crunchy
miracle.
and soft on the inside, and they were all salted. And the Bacon King was cooked perfect. It had cheese and ketchup and mayonnaise and bacon and that day. But if we would have reviewed them that day, they would have gotten a garbage.
Not from me.
Not from you,
Never from me.
but for me, yeah. So I. Oh, and you remember John, one of my friends that also listens. He doesn't like that I like Pollo Tropical because he says there's better Puerto Rican food places than Pollo Tropical.
But it's so fucking cheap. The
And it's
two of
not
us
bad.
can eat dinner there for $13.
Exactly.
Where can you go? You can't even get dinner that cheap for two people at McDonald's.
No,
You can't.
no,
Unless you order off the fucking dollar menu.
not even. So, yeah, the other one would be Pollo Tropical because I actually like Pollo Tropical.
Yeah, it's not bad. They fucked up my orders a couple
See, the thing
times.
is, when
but-
you live where we live, if you go to a lechonera or any of these places that sell Puerto Rican or Dominican or Cuban food, it's always going to have a line.
Yeah.
And you know who's not going to have a line?
Tropical chicken.
Exactly, Pollo Tropical. So, all right. So, are you ready to get into? I forgot what the name of your section is.
Book
called.
talk.
Book talk. You ready to get
Yeah.
into book talk?
Yeah.
All right. So this is book talk.
This week's book is All the Lonely People by Mike Gale, published by Grand Central Publishing on July 13th, 2021. So, like 3 weeks ago. I think it originally published in the UK sometime in the summer of 2020, but I could be totally wrong about that. That's just what I've managed to glean from Goodreads, because Goodreads is like, it published in June of 2020, but it wasn't here. But yeah, so why are you looking at me like that?
Did you forget something important?
What?
Something about a book. Something about this book that's happening.
I'm mentioning that later.
Are you sure you don't want to do it early?
No.
No? Okay.
If they decide to ditch early on, then that's on them. Okay, so all the why do you keep looking at me this way? You're distracting me from my goal. Okay, so All the Lonely People follows the story of Hubert Bird, an elderly man who spends all of his days very much alone.
He's elderly. I feel even worse for giving him that.
He's gonna have to get dentures.
No, he's never gonna eat
broke his
again.
tooth.
He broke his jaw.
Poor Hubert.
Poor old man.
But he spends his days very much alone, unfortunately, like a large portion of the elderly community. The difference with Hubert is that he's woven an intricate web of lies for his daughter, in which he leads a pretty active and social life. He talks to her weekly and tells her all about all the time he spends out and about with his friends. And since he's in the UK and she's in Australia, she is none the wiser. But then something happens, as I'm sure you're probably already assuming, that yanks Hubert out of this nest of lonely that he's built for himself. Forgive me, because it's now been a couple weeks since I finished it, but if I remember correctly, he has a couple interactions with this young woman who is looking for a job, and despite the fact that he kind of comes off as a grumpy gills, they run into each other as she's about to go for an interview, but she needs someone to watch her small daughter, so she rather abruptly forces this kid onto Hubert, who's like baffled that a woman who doesn't know him would just leave her daughter with him. It's pretty cute. He goes and walks her through the park, and you can see that he's kind of like coming to terms with, hey, I really am lonely and things like this would be nice. And all of this ultimately leads to a domino effect of events that wraps up with Hubert being coerced into spearheading an initiative to bring all the lonely people in the community together, and he maybe even meets a lady friend. It's adorable.
That sounds like a terrible book.
It is very sad.
I,
If that's what you mean.
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't like it already.
It's happy and sad though. So I know the story probably sounds like pretty simple and cute, but I promise you it's a lot deeper than that. I love that the chapters alternate between the past and the present. So we learn a lot about Hubert's immigration from Jamaica to England and the racism that he faced. He ultimately winds up marrying a white woman whose family completely disowns her for their marriage. And he spends like their entire time together essentially proving to her that it was all worth it. Like, she even has a sister who was somewhat willing to talk with her, but like ultimately everybody completely cut her off because of this. And then we see like one of their adult children fall prey to drugs, and like they never see him again, don't know if he's alive or dead. We see the wife eventually become the victim of early onset dementia. It is tragic, but as with any good story, there is beauty in the tragedy. I think I mentioned A Man Called Uwe back when I reviewed Frederick Backman's Anxious People. And
For some reason, that episode keeps getting a lot of listens.
I don't know why. We haven't like told people to go listen to it, have we?
I've told a few people on Twitter, but I doubt that one person is
What
going
did you
to...
review in that episode?
Shantae. But
Because I don't feel like Anxious People is drawing people in.
yeah, and I feel like the one person I told on Twitter, oh, hey, we reviewed this, isn't going to listen to that one episode specifically over and over again.
You know.
Unless they think that my Backman is funny.
But a lot of people have compared this book to A Man Called Uwe. And in a lot of ways, I agree. But I feel like this book is a lot more important than Uwe. Uwe is an amazing book and was one of my favorite reads of 2020. But All of the Lonely People paints a life of true struggle overcome and adversity faced that Uwe would never have faced being a white man. To top it all off, there is a rather huge twist in the end that I did not see coming and honestly like spent a lot of time scratching my head over. This is not the kind of book that you expect to have a twist, like almost comparable to like a thriller twist. It really threw me for a loop. Really
in a good or bad way?
I guess kind of both. It's sad. It's really sad.
It's a sad twist.
Yeah, I was
Oh.
shocked. And I don't want to spoil that for you since I've already given a lot away. But the good news is I was sent an extra copy of this book
An
by
extra
the publisher.
coffee?
Copy.
There we go.
Did I say coffee?
Yes, you said coffee.
Did I really?
Yeah. I was sent an extra coffee.
I wish I had a coffee. I was sent an extra copy of this book by the publisher, Grand Central Publishing. Thank you, Grand Central. And we'd like to give away that extra copy to one of you. So I am going to copy Chris's method a little bit, but slightly change it up that you used with the dirt thing
Right.
that you gave away.
Yeah.
So the first person to email us at anovelconsole@gmail.com telling us exactly what I say about this week's Gorbage's side will win the extra copy of All the Lonely People. U.S. only. Sorry.
Free
Because we're
book.
broke over here.
Free book.
So yeah.
Free book.
And I'll tell you again when I'm about to say what you need to email.
Okay. So, anything else you want to say about All the Lonely People?
It's a really beautiful book. If you're okay with a kind of a lot bit of sad, but a happy ending. If you're okay with reading about old people and not getting all up in your feels and thinking about your grandparents like I did, oh God, yeah, it's a really good book. Solid 5 stars.
5 stars.
5 stars.
5 stars.
All across the board. And the audiobook is really, really good too. The narrator does a really good job, like with Hubert's Jamaican accent. It's awesome. Because you listened to part of it.
Yeah, I think so. I think I listened to the part where he was hitting on some white lady or something. And then everybody was looking at him weird or something like that.
I don't remember exactly where you were listening, but that sounds about right.
Yeah. See, the problem with you reading sad books and this podcast is that I can't make fun of them because they're sad.
I mean, you can.
What am I going to say? Oh, he's lonely. He has no friends.
It's so mean.
Exactly. I can't make fun of it.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, well.
I'll try to pick something more not sad for next time.
Well, hopefully you can make fun of my game.
Hopefully.
Because I liked it, actually. So, 5 stars for all the lonely people. Let's go ahead and get into games and stuff.
Oh, you remember the name of that section.
So for this week's game, we have Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade.
The Olympics.
Yes,
Yeah.
Final Fantasy VII Fanfare was on the Olympics, which is weird. I don't know how they would make that work, but oh, well, whatever.
We need to watch it.
So, Final Fantasy VII Remake is a remake, obviously, of the 1997 PS1 RPG Final Fantasy VII. It was developed and published by Square Enix for PS4 on April 10th, 2020, and the Intergrade version was released on PS5 in June 10th, 2021. In the game, you follow Cloud Strife as he joins eco-terrorist group Avalanche, who have taken it upon themselves to stop the evil megacorporation Amazon. Shinra, from sucking up the planet's life. In the DLC, you take control of Yuffie as she tries to find the ultimate materia and steal it from Shinra, because her people from Wutai are obsessed with materia for some reason. So for this review, I'm mostly going to be covering the intermission DLC that was released for the PS5 upgrade, but my opinions cover both games, because I did play a little bit of the base game when I did the DLC. Let's get into the graphics. The graphics in the game are amazing, the environments look great, and everything from the trash-filled streets of the slums to the overly techy lab facilities of Shinra, everything looks amazing. It looked great on PS4. It looks even better on PS5. The character models all look great, but they don't all look like they belong in the game. The NPCs in the world all look like they're people you'd see walking down the street, which is great, right? That's
Wait, like they look
like normal people.
really?
Yeah, like the NPCs look like normal people. An NPC is a non-playable character. It's just an NPC.
Aren't we in a fantasy world?
Yeah, but it's like steampunk-ish.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But the steam the water they're using for the steam is the planet's lifeblood. So, so blood punk,
I like
steam
that.
blood.
Oh god.
So, there are some characters that you interact with that they look like they've been taken straight out of an anime. They look like the game sometimes looks like when you're walking down a con floor and you see some people dressed up in their regular street clothes and some people dressed up as anime characters. So there's that kind of weird dissonance going on between the characters and everybody else in the world. Apart from that, the sound design in the game is excellent. The attacks all have a nice sounding weight to them. Magic and sound effects have been brought back from the original version, and they sound so good. The music in particular is crazy good. There's one part in the Yuffie DLC where you're chasing somebody down, and the scene, I want to say it's like 20, 30 minutes long. Throughout that entire scene, there's different chapters and different things happening in those quote-unquote chapters. And it's the same song over the entire thing, but rearranged in a different way in each kind of like moment. So when it's really heavy on the chase, then you get the song going with really fast tempo and the drumming. It's all jazz. So and the drumming is like off tempo, but it works in the way that it's off tempo, and it all has really heavy bass. It's just great, to the point that I just sat there for a few minutes just listening to the song because it was so fucking good. The voice acting is great. Every character lends their performance perfectly to the characters. And I was particularly impressed with Sonon. He is the new assistant that you get to help Yuffie in the DLC. And he is based on Sun Wukong. Do you know who Sun Wukong is?
I have no idea.
He is the Monkey King from Journey to the West.
Oh, okay.
So Goku is based on Sun Wukong.
Oh, right. I remember you telling me this.
And this character is based on Sun Wukong too because he looks kind of like a monkey. He fights with a staff, and he has spiky black hair. Barrett still sounds like an idiot. Barrett sounds like an asshole.
Barrett sounds like he would sound like an idiot.
So Barrett is that one character that Adam and I were talking about that he sounds like a white guy voicing a black guy.
Oh, that one.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, he sounds like a fucking
That's
moron.
annoying.
Yeah. The gameplay is very rewarding. The combat is pretty basic. It has one button attacks. You press another button to change the attacks that you do, and you have a ton of magic abilities that you can learn by equipping different materia. Along with that, every different weapon you equip has a unique special ability that you can learn by using the ability over and over again, which is cool because there's actually some abilities that are really, really helpful, but then you'll have a weapon that has higher damage output. So once you learn that ability, you can just equip the new weapon and, you still get to keep using that ability. And I do like in the base game, when you change your attack with Cloud, he just attacks faster. In the Yuffie DLC, when you change your attack with Yuffie, she throws her ninja star, or whatever the hell it's called. It keeps hitting the enemies while she's just throwing fucking magic left and right at the enemies. Like, she is so much fun to use. There are some small side quests that net you money, items, and materia. They aren't really necessary to the story, but they're great for fleshing out the world and giving the NPCs a little bit of an identity. I do feel like the gameplay in the intermission DLC is a lot more fun than the base game, just because Yuffie controls so great. She just controls great. Her I would love going into fights every single time just because I would get to fight using her. In the base game, not so much. There were some characters that I loved using, like Tifa, but pretty much Tifa was the only good character that I liked using, because Cloud, it was fun at the beginning.
What the hell are these names?
Yeah.
Yuffie, Tifa, Cloud,
Barrett,
Aerith.
Yeah, Red 13.
Oh my, what the hell?
Yeah. But I do have a few problems with the game. First off is the X button. It does nothing but confirm your commands on the command menu, which is always present even when you're outside of combat. You have the X button opening up the fucking menu. It does nothing else. It's so annoying because
I'd be opening that menu all the time by accident.
That's what I kept doing because I wanted them to do something at
Isn't that
least.
supposed to be like your most commonly used button?
Yeah.
What the hell?
Yeah.
That's stupid.
Yeah, it's terrible. Like, some games use it for you to run. Some games use it for you to do a dodge or a roll or something. No, this one just opens a fucking menu.
Oh my god.
So it does help in combat because it does make like navigation through the things that you can use apart, like the magic and throwing items and shit. It makes it easier to use, but not while you're running around the world, because that just gets really annoying. Another thing that did kind of annoy me is that Yuffie kept screaming about destroying Midgar right after there was a bombing in the city. And her homeland of Wutai was blamed for it.
Oh my lord.
So there would be like Shinra soldiers walking around, and she would scream right near them, "I'm going to blow up Midgar." Like, what? It's like, what the fuck? Calm down. And like at one point, her friend Sonon said, "You need to calm down. You need to stop screaming that shit because you're gonna get us killed." It's just, it was self-aware in some points, and it was pretty fun. And I don't know if this is a complaint or not, but I just feel like it was big enough to get me to notice. But some of the character names are weird. One group in particular has characters named Billy Bob.
Billy Bob Thornton.
Close. Billy Bob, Polk, Neo, and GJ. Or Gigia, depending on who was saying the name. And GJ or Gigia, the spelling is Zhijie, which I would have never read that name as GJ or Gigia. So it feels like there's no uniformity in the naming or the characters, because there's a ton of Asian-looking characters with Asian names, which cool. Or the Asian-looking characters have Southern names, like Billy Bob. Or there's anime-looking Americans, like characters that look like they're Americans, but also anime. And the names just don't match them. For example, Gigia looks like an American cosplaying a member of BTS.
What?
Yeah, it's like there's no uniformity. It's like it's just weird.
That's super weird.
It's super weird. It's like, and then the main characters, you see Barrett is this massive black dude with a heavy machine gun in his arm, like a combat vest and
Voiced
combat
by
boots.
a white man.
Voiced by a white man. And then Tifa is like this anime girl with ginormous honkers, and she punches and kicks everything to death.
Do her titties hang out?
No, they're
Covered?
yeah,
They're just giant.
They're just giant. And then you have Cloud with his spiky anime hair and ginormous sword for no
Dragon
fucking
Ball.
reason. Exactly. So it just feels weird sometimes, but I do have praises for the game, and honestly, this game was better than I expected, because I did enjoy base game in the end. In the few, I want to say, last 10 hours, I really enjoyed the game. The beginning, not so much. The beginning, I was kind of forcing myself to play through it, but once you got to the part where you actually go to Shinra, the story started diverging there from the original, and everything that they were doing, I was like, holy shit, this is great. I like where they're going with this, because I'm really not a huge fan of Final Fantasy VII. I do appreciate it for what it is. I do appreciate the combat, and I can tell, okay, the story is, your classic terrorist group wants to save the world from evil mega corporation, which, fine, it's understandable. But the steps that it takes to tell that story, I don't care for. Like the whole slums story, I don't care for that. To me, Final Fantasy VII doesn't get good until after you leave Midgar. But this was great. That whole last 10 hours were great. This whole DLC was way better than I expected, because I knew it was going to be in the slums. I knew you were going to be in Shinra. And it does reuse a lot of assets from the base game, but it was done so well that it did feel like a brand new game. And I do like that it doesn't feel like that it was padded out with extra unnecessary content like the base game was. And the linearity of the DLC worked for the story that was being told. The game just looks and sounds beautiful, and there is details like the material being placed on the weapons with the order and color that you want, and I thought that was a very nice touch. Overall, this game is worth the $60 it costs. How do you say it?
Costs.
Plus the $20 for the Yuffie DLC. I enjoyed the DLC more than the base game, since it got to the point much quicker than the base game did. The story was pretty great, shining a spotlight on some Shinra villains that didn't get to shine in the base game, plus some new and returning characters in the rest of the story. The best part about the whole DLC is that after you beat it, you get a few cutscenes that confirm a lot of rumors from the ending of the base game, and they make me incredibly excited for what's next to come with the Final Fantasy remakes. Because they decided to do Remake 1, and it's the story up until they leave Midgar. Then they're going to make another. I think they're going to make 3 games.
Nice.
So I can't wait to see what the rest is going to be like. I know the next one is going to end in a cliffhanger, and I'm going to be very mad about that. So I'm going to give this game 2 rankings, one for the base game and one for the DLC. Base game gets a solid 4.5 stars.
Oh my gosh.
And it just takes too long to get to the good
I
part
always
for me.
think that you're going to give something a lower rating than what you do when you say all these things about it.
Everybody's like, oh, this game is amazing. It's the best game of the year. It's like,
No.
it was good. It wasn't the best game of the year. But Intermission does get 4.9. It was close to perfect in my opinion, just because it was just so much damn fun to play. And if you have a PS5 and you played base game, just pay the $20. Fuck it. Just play it. It's so worth it. So good. So, are you ready for your favorite segment?
I'm ready for Give Me the Garbage. This week's restaurant is. Why are you laughing at me? Give me garbage! Oh dear.
What's this week's restaurant?
This week's restaurant is Portillo's in Lake Buena Vista, Florida, aka Orlando, but it's like close to Disney, so might as well tell you Lake Buena Vista. Okay, so Portillo's recently opened near Florida's first White Castle, which we reviewed a few episodes ago. I'm sure my husband's gonna pull up our Buzzsprout right now and tell you which episode it was.
I wasn't queued up to do that, but I'll take a quick look. Actually, I don't have this right here. Where is it?
Sliders.
Yes, episode 38.
Okay.
A world traveler and a vampire mommy go to White Castle.
Oh, that was our last giveaway.
Well, not the last one, the one with
But the one where you did, yeah.
Yeah. You know what's funny?
What?
White Castle got hit with over 200 health code violations.
And they're still busy as fuck.
Yeah.
Maybe not as busy as they were, but I mean, obviously it's dying down.
I'll still eat
anyway. But I mean, are you surprised with how fast those people were having to move? Like, it's obviously not up to code. Anyway.
Yeah, I can see that. All right, so where did we go?
So we went to Portillo's. If you've never heard of this chain, they're mostly famous for their hot dogs, especially their Chicago-style dogs. And if you're like me and had never had a Chicago dog before, you might want to know what they include because they are pretty freaking unique. So, a Chicago dog has mustard, relish, celery salt, and you better bet your ass your celery salt your fingers are going to smell like celery
You're
salt
gonna
for
get celery
days.
salt fingered.
They're ooh, that one.
Oh, get over it. Come
Your
on,
fingers
continue.
are going to smell like celery salt for days. Okay, freshly chopped onion, sliced tomatoes, a kosher pickle, and sport peppers
Yeah, it's tiny peppers.
on a steamed poppy seed bun. Their website says Chicagoans call this dragging the dog through the garden, which is pretty fucking accurate because I mean it's got all those fresh ingredients, so it makes sense.
So I want to touch on a couple of things about that hot dog. First off,
It sounds terrible.
it does.
It sounds like it would never work.
And if you've eaten any of these ingredients by themselves, you know how overpowering they can be.
All of them.
Because they're a lot. You have sweet, you have savory, you have acid,
Spicy.
you have like all these demanding flavors. The thing is that they all work perfectly balanced and well.
They really will.
But the
really
one thing
do.
I want to point out is the relish. Have you ever seen relish that color before?
No, it's
It's-
like super bright.
It's neon green.
Yeah.
It looks like those speakers look like right now.
Yeah, it is bright as fuck.
And it's so good. It's not overtly sweet. It's just, it lends itself to it.
It does. Oh my gosh, I just thought of something.
What?
So I just said they're bright as fuck. I saw a meme this week that said I don't remember exactly what it said, but basically someone who read AF as foretold. So I challenge all
I
of
saw
you to read AF
As
as
foretold.
foretold and see how things change. That relish was green as foretold.
By who?
Me.
That hot dog, pretty fucking fantastic.
It's so good. So I got the combo, which includes 2 Chicago dogs and fries. And as soon as I saw that they had cheese sauce, I knew I had to try it. I had to.
Isn't this where you were going with
I'm
your...
getting there. I'm
Okay.
getting there. So if y'all want to win this book, here's what you need to email. And you need to do it fast because the first one who emails us wins. Remember, US only. Okay, so those fries are fried to perfection and not even the tiniest bit greasy. They are crispy and clean and like must be from potatoes that were grown in God's garden because I have never seen fries so beautiful. They're not brown. They are so perfect. And the
Golden.
cheese sauce. Give me a tub and I will bathe in it. How can something so simple be so tasty? Easily the best cheese sauce I have ever had in my fucking life. And there you go. May
Okay,
the odds be ever in your favor.
Don't transcribe the whole thing.
No,
Just
yeah, you don't have to transcribe the whole
like
thing.
the-
Just hit the main points.
like the winner.
We
for
appreciated
Dirt.
that the winner of Dirt transcribed literally word for word everything he said. But you don't have to go that far.
He even
Just-
transcribed the pauses, the commas,
Did he really?
the me correcting myself on what I was saying, everything.
Just give me the main points. So, like, potatoes from God's garden, cheese in a tub, those things.
Yeah. So what you took away from that? Going back to the hot dog, I loved biting into the
And when the pepper sprays in your mouth.
First
Ooh,
off,
so good.
I kept telling you, Sonic had great Chicago dogs, and you didn't
But
understand.
wasn't it like a limited?
No,
They have 'em all the
had
time?
They had them for a long time. They just took them away.
Oh.
And you kept saying, oh, okay. Like, you didn't really know what it was and you weren't really paying attention to me.
I do that a lot.
And then I saw the Portillo's had Chicago dogs. I was like, we're going to get Chicago dogs. And you got the Chicago dogs and you were weirded out.
I was weirded out, but they were tasty. You got to actually give it a chance. It's so good. It works so well together.
So
I mean, it is a flavor bomb in your mouth.
I'm gonna try to paint a picture. So you grab you grab your bun, right?
And it is kind of soggy because it is steamed.
And
So I wouldn't say it's
spears and
soggy,
tomatoes and all that.
Yeah, it's a
all
lot.
wet.
You got
It's
to
all
hold
wet.
it all together.
Everything in the bun is wet except for the hot dog.
Yep.
So you got to grab it, right? And you got to put your finger, one holding the tomatoes and the other one on top holding the pickle and the peppers in place.
My peppers kept falling off.
When you take a bite, right, you feel that snap from the hot dog.
Mm-hmm.
That's the first snap you feel from the hot dog.
Mm-hmm.
Then you feel the snap from the pickle.
Mm-hmm.
And the tomato just like crunching underneath it. And as you're chewing, you start feeling the mustard coming in, and then the little bit of relish,
The celery
and then
salt.
the celery salt, the juicy
onions.
meat from the hot dog. It just becomes all these flavors that, by themselves, I can agree that they can be off-putting, because celery by itself can be off-putting. I can understand how a pickle can be off-putting by itself, but all of these together just work so perfectly and in such harmony that they
Especially
just
those damn peppers. That
And
was
the
my
peppers.
favorite part.
The spiciness of the peppers.
Oh, with the mustard.
I'm gonna say the Chicago dog has to be food nirvana. It has to be like the whole thing is just a perfect bite.
My
The
only
whole hot dog is a perfect bite.
Well, yeah. My only complaint is just how it's kind of difficult to tear that hot dog, because I don't know, it's like a little too rubbery, and I had a hard time like biting a chunk.
Yesterday or
properly.
the first
I think
time?
the first time it was a little bit harder.
Well, you also did let one of them sit for a while, and it got cold.
I struggle.
So
But it was still perfect.
That's
I
so
wouldn't
good.
take away any points from it, even just for that one tiny little complaint.
no, like the whole hot dog is just perfect. It's like it hits every note. It's perfect.
Whenever we go back, we need to try their cake shakes, because the first time I had this place years ago, when I went to see Lady Gaga in Tampa, because Tampa, there are like 2 locations over there, I had a cake shake and it was bomb. And I don't even like chocolate, and I got the chocolate cake shake and it was so good.
So the next thing we had, or that
You
I
had. I tasted it. It was good.
is the Italian roast beef sandwich.
You want to tell them what's on it?
So it's basically just what is it? A French bread dipped in the roast beef juice with obviously the roast beef and pickled stuff on top. I think it's like pickled onion, celery, carrots, and I got it with hot peppers. And let me say, if the Italian roast beef sandwich from Portillo's, a chain, is this amazing, the roast beef sandwich from a mom and pop Italian place has to be a million times
Knock your
better.
socks off.
It's gonna knock my shit out, because wow, like the first time I enjoyed it, and yesterday when we went again, I enjoyed it even more. And yesterday it did do this thing that I was blown away by, and is that the part of the bun got really soaked, and because it's French bread, it doesn't disintegrate; it stays together. And I would bite into it, and it would feel like it had a lot of fat in it, like fatty.
It's exactly
chunks.
what we need.
The fatty chunks that I really love in meat. And I was like, wow, this has a lot of fat in it. And I would keep looking to see if I could find the fat. And no, it's all just meat. It's just that the juices would make the bread have the consistency and the taste of actual beef fat. And it was so good. Oh my God. I don't even want to talk about the onion rings because I feel like the onion rings were like the low light of the whole meal, and they were still pretty amazing. But God, an Italian roast beef sandwich, it is just so fatty and rich and hearty, and just having those pickled greens on top with the spicy peppers, they just brighten up and cut through that fat. And God, it's so good. I loved it. I want to have more. Can we go again, please? Soon.
We need to take a break for a while because we're supposed to be eating healthy. I mean, we are for the most part, but we're still sliding down the hill a little bit.
See, the thing is, if we got to cut the podcast short in about 2 years because we both died, I'm happy with
Don't
that.
say that! Don't say that! He's kidding. Oh my God.
I don't want to be alive
terrible.
anymore. I want to die. So,
Not funny.
what are we going to give
Garbage.
Yeah. Why did I even ask you?
I don't know.
The listeners could have told us that.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't said. I literally only said the one bad thing.
Yeah, the listeners can't even see our show notes, and they already know that we wrote garbage on our show notes.
I didn't even have to write it.
You're not doing your job right then.
Oh, please. I do my job thoroughly.
We need to keep everything written down for documentation in the future
Oh,
for when
my
the
God.
aliens come and they find our hard drives and this is probably the best podcast ever.
These fat motherfuckers, they out a lot.
Yeah, they're gonna be like, I want to try that, and then they'll look up recipes on whatever's left of the internet and
But
try
they can take their UFO to Chicago and have one there.
a Chicago dog.
Yeah.
That's true. Did hear that some of the best Chicago dogs you're going to find in a cart right in front of the baseball stadium. I don't know how true that is.
We'll go one day.
Eventually. Where's Chicago? Is it in...
Illinois.
That's not where... No, that's Boston, Massachusetts. No,
That's
never
a
mind.
totally different place.
Yeah. It's like, we can
Very
visit...
different.
We can visit Kiko Mariana.
Nope, not the same state by any means at all.
I don't know states. All right, so you ready to get into some housekeeping?
Yes.
So go sign up for our Patreon because we're mediocre. Remember to follow us on Instagram and Twitter at A Novel Console and on Facebook at facebook.com/novelconsole. Don't forget to tell your friends that they can find the podcast on most major podcast streaming platforms and that they can also listen on YouTube by searching for A Novel Console. Don't forget to tell them to subscribe, like, and comment, which we would like if they did. You should also leave a review on Apple Podcasts and Google Podcasts so that more people can find us. You can also email us at anovelconsole@gmail.com, and we will read your email on the show. Our art was done by Metamorphique. You can find her on the show notes on Instagram.
As he struggles.
Yeah. Actually, I wanted to say something important. Like, I forgot completely to put it on the notes. We are at 973 all-time total downloads right now. We're so close to 1,000. I cannot wait to hit 1,000.
It's been slow going.
I mean,
We're pitiful.
In the last few months, we've had close to 200 listens. Like the last month and a half, I want to say.
On our baby podcast.
So
That's almost a year old.
That's almost a year old. So I feel like we're probably going to hit 1,000 in the next, probably either this or next week. We're so close.
That would be nice.
It would be really nice. So if you
Tell
guys...
your friends to listen to us, please.
Yeah, so if you can tell your friends to listen to the show, just send our show their way. Not on YouTube, because YouTube doesn't count towards these analytics. They have their own. Just have them give us a listen. We would really appreciate that. And with that, we end today's episode. You want to say goodbye, Karradyne?
Goodbye.
Goodbye, everyone.